Hello and welcome to CTV News Across Canada for Wednesday, December 17th. We've got the top local stories from coast to coast. Stories that affect you and the country. Thanks for joining us.
Pharmacist Scott Coulter says vaccinations started out busy this season but have tapered off. He says he expects interest to grow once again as influenza cases spike.
Absolutely. People are responding to the news, no doubt about that. They're responding to the fact that their friends and loved ones are getting very sick with the flu as well.
According to the Middlesex London Health Unit, there were 150 cases of influenza in the first week of December for a total of 486 so far this season. There were 39 new hospitalizations, and the positivity rate was nearly 30% of those tested.
We're starting to see an earlier rise in the number of influenza cases compared to last year, for example. And so we're having increasing cases week after week, and we've been noticing this for the last several weeks now.
The head of Children's Emerge at LHSC says children are often affected first by the flu, and right now that is putting a strain on Children's Emerge.
And we've seen up to almost 200 patients in a day. Mostly with flu-like symptoms. So we've definitely felt the impact of the flu this year, like we do it every year.
Dr. Lim says those most vulnerable include patients being treated for serious illness or elderly patients. For that reason, LHSC is asking people to wear a mask in clinical areas. Situation is essentially the same in neighboring Elgin and Oxford counties, where public health officials are warning of a very high influenza risk. Infectious disease manager Joanne Andrews says congregate settings have been impacted by the early surge.
And we're seeing that impact not only hospitalizations, but also outbreaks in our long-term care home and retirement homes. So right now in Southwestern Public Health Region, we have 5 facilities that have an influenza A outbreak.
Health officials say they expect a peak by late December in the middle of the holiday season. So it's not too late to get your shot.
We anticipate this to continue for a few more weeks as we enter a peak of influenza activity.
We hope to see as many people vaccinated as possible. We're certainly prepared if that happens.
Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
There were no cars in the parking lot, and the playground was empty at Eleanor W. Graham Middle School in Rexton today. For the second straight day, school was closed after the RCMP received several reports of threats made toward the school on social media over the weekend. Classes were canceled out of an abundance of caution while police continue their investigation.
I wish that there was a little bit more information shared with us, and I would like for them to get back into school, but of course they want it to be safe, so want their investigation to be thorough.
Rexton's high school is roughly a kilometer away, but remained open.
Yeah, I was genuinely concerned because yesterday my mom had to make me stay home because she thought it's like a walking distance.
The school district says they are unable to comment because it's an active police investigation.
I know more information just from word around the town than I do from what I've gotten from the school.
I spoke with one parent today who says she's obviously worried about what's going on here, but she also has concerns for the other schools in Rexton.
There's 2 other schools closely located to the middle school, which is Bonner Law and the Rexton Elementary School. We also have 2 daycares that are located close to the school, so it is a big concern when one school gets shut down in a small area.
Augustine kept her kids home yesterday, but police say there are not any known threats to the other schools in the area. Late this afternoon, the school's principal notified families that classes will resume tomorrow, but parents have the right to keep children home if they wish. Derek Haggett, CTV News, Rexton, New Brunswick.
The newly built youth haven shelter in Barrie is almost ready to open. A few final touches still needed before it's fully operational.
We're upstairs here at Youth Haven, where we have 13 bedrooms to accommodate 28 youth. We're in one of the rooms now. As you can see, we have 2 bunk beds that will accommodate 4 of our youth.
Youth Haven acts as an emergency shelter for people between the ages of 16 to 24.
But we're so much more than just an emergency shelter. We offer transitional housing program, we offer crisis management, case management, education, housing, employment assistance. We offer health care.
The need for youth services has increased significantly in recent years, and not just in Barrie, but right across Simcoe County. County staff say they're thrilled to have the extra youth space open up, but have much bigger plans moving forward.
So we have a rapid rehousing youth program that we're operating in Aurelia that's open to all youth across the county, and we're seeing great outcomes of almost a 50% housing rate coming out of that program, with 45 youth already being served and 22 being already permanently housed. So we're looking to do the exact same mirror image program in Barrie as well.
The county estimates there's about 80 youth dealing with homelessness at any given time in the region.
The first step is to bring someone into a shelter. That doesn't end their homelessness. Homelessness ends when they get a permanent address and a place to call home.
Empower Simcoe is also involved in helping those in need. Its mission is to empower people to lead a full and inclusive life by providing quality services, much like Youth Haven.
When you're young and you don't know who do I turn to, where are those resources, where in the community do I go that has my best interest at heart, it's really difficult as a young person who's just trying to survive day by day.
Now, staff are hoping to have the new facility open sometime around Christmas. If you know a young person in need of assistance, you're encouraged to contact Youth Haven directly. Rob Cooper, CTV News, Barrie.
Paul Balabanowitz and his wife salvaged a few groceries from their unit today. They say they never imagined their lives would be disrupted so much and for so long.
Never, never. This is like, I have gone through cancer treatments, and this is more devastating because I don't have a home.
We're actually fortunate in the fact that we had somewhere to go in addition to the hotel. Right now we're stationed in Peterborough at Pauline's sister's place.
It was November 27th when fire broke out between the walls of this Thorncliffe Park condo before spreading to an adjoining building at 21 Overlea Boulevard. More than 400 units were evacuated. The fire is now out, but residents won't be getting back in anytime soon, and the frustration is mounting.
Anxiety, depressions, and all that stuff. And nobody cares.
You just want to go home.
Yes.
I want to thank them for their patience and their resilience throughout this difficult time. The city will move quickly once those engineering reports come and help people move back home as quickly as possible.
The city's fire chief says this is one of the most complex fires the city has ever dealt with. And many of the condo units, especially the ones located near the seams between the two buildings, had to be torn apart to get at the fire.
Destructive and intrusive testing inside units adjoining the wall where the combustible material is was required for us to have certainty to declare this fire out. So there are absolutely units that adjoin this wall where we have cut into the walls, where we have drilled holes into the walls so we could deploy our Hussar cameras and search out the edges of the fire and the fiberboard to know exactly the path of travel and where the fire stopped.
For his part, Balabanowitz says his unit suffered no damage, but the neighbor across the hall wasn't as fortunate.
The floors have been destroyed. I know some of the walls have been kicked in, there are holes. There's a fair bit of work to be done for the person, for the unit to be livable again.
This will be a phased-in return for residents in both buildings, but no one knows for sure when it will start. So obviously the units that weren't damaged, those people will actually get back sooner than people who had some units that were quite disrupted because of the battle to stop this fire. That'll be up to the property management company. The building's now been turned back over to them. Reporting live, I'm John Musselman. I'll send it back to you.
This regional water tower is part of the network that serves the Mannheim service area, including most of KW, Woolwich, and Wilmot, where the region says the water demand could outpace supply in the next 25 years.
This is very much what we've been warning about for years.
The region says water quality is not a concern and capacity isn't an immediate problem, but Kevin Thomason of the Grand River Environmental Network says his group is concerned about both.
We don't have the water capacity or water supply in the places where it's needed the most. And so that's a big concern.
Waterloo Region's water system draws from 100 wells. Groundwater makes up 75 to 80% of its drinking water. The rest is taken from the Grand River.
Already we've seen several of our wells had to be shut down in recent years because the water is saltier than seawater because of the amount of road salt that's going down on the roads. So salination is an issue.
Earlier this month, the region said the Mannheim service area doesn't have enough water to support the community's growth by 2051.
Taking action today is not optional.
Citizens for Safe Groundwater says the region needs to act now.
We are suggesting that Regional Council adopt a motion calling on the province to establish this blue belt in our region to ensure that the Waterloo Moraine, which is our primary aquifer for drinking water, is provincially recognized as being permanently protected.
Both groups want immediate, stricter controls on the kinds of developments that are approved in order to protect groundwater aquifers.
I think the region needs to back off on things like this absolutely absurd Wilmot land assembly that's happening out in Wilmot, where we see a 770-acre site larger than Disneyland, California, being targeted for mega industrial use.
A spokesperson for the region of Waterloo said in a statement, in part, Waterloo Region's water system is comprehensive and complex. The region is working to expedite timelines to address the issue, and a third-party review is ongoing.
The region of Waterloo also said in a statement that results of the third-party review will be published when complete, and that the region is committed to sharing more information with residents once it is available.
Nearly 160 kilometers long, more than 100,000 drivers use Highway 50 every day. But Cynthia Durocher is not one of them.
C'est un gros morceau de notre vie qui nous a quittés. En fait, Joey, c'est un ami.
Her friend, 28-year-old Joey Raymond, died in a car accident. According to the SQ, his car collided head-on with a truck in the morning hours of December 10th near Mirabel. And while police say the weather may have played a role in the crash, Durocher believes the road itself is dangerous.
L'autoroute 50 est reconnue depuis des années comme dangereuse.
The accident happened where there is only one lane in each direction, with no barriers to separate oncoming traffic. Data from Quebec's Transport Ministry shows between 2015 to October of last year, there were 29 fatal accidents and 33 accidents that caused serious injuries. André Durocher is with CAA Quebec.
Road safety is always a combination of what we call enforcement, education, and engineering. Obviously, in the case of Highway 50, something needs to be done.
The Quebec government is working on a redevelopment plan, doubling lanes in some parts of the highway and adding barriers. While some of the work is completed, there's still a lot that needs to be done. And for Lachut's mayor, it isn't being done fast enough.
These investments have been either postponed or investments that will be taken way too long.
Bernard Bicrat-Denis says he wants the province to implement immediate fixes, like reducing speed limits and a higher police presence. He says recent calls to the province mostly go unanswered.
We feel like we're being neglected by the priorities of the government.
Quebec's Transportation Ministry tells CTV News it's listening to the concerns of affected municipalities and plans to move forward with construction. A new median barrier is set to be installed west of Lachute by the end of 2026. As for installing a barrier at the site of the crash where the father of two died, the ministry says that area is under review and any changes will depend on the results. Sweeta Rassi, CTV News.
This here's Big Joey, or yeah. Mrs. Stubbs.
To this point, 17-year-old Lucas Gillen has been your typical teenager, feeding his family cows, learning about cars, and getting out on the river to fish. But all of that may start to change in 2026.
In the new year, if a kidney transplant is not available yet, I will be starting dialysis.
Not a normal evening activity for your average 17-year-old.
So every night I'll have to be hooked up to a machine. And it will transfer the toxins out of my stomach. I don't want to do it, that's for sure. It's definitely something I do not want to do.
Gillen's chronic kidney failure hasn't burdened the family too much to this point, but in September, after continuing to grow, doctors told Lucas it was time to start searching for a donor.
Okay, so now we need a kidney.
Who are we going to ask?
How do you put that out there?
February is like the date of plan for dialysis if a kidney is not available by then, just because that's when one of my semesters end at school, and then
from there I can do online if I need to.
Gillen's family put out a call on social media for a living donor. Doctors say a deceased donor would not be an ideal fit, and it has led to dozens of family and friends being tested for a match.
It's been amazing.
It's been overwhelming, actually. It really has. Yeah. I remember sitting at the doctor's office at the general and them saying, yeah, we're going to have to start the process. And I thought, okay, that time has come.
No donor has been found yet, but the family is hopeful the push for a new kidney will help more people than just Lucas.
I often say the miracle out of all of this is that Lucas gets a kidney and maybe a few other people get a kidney out of it.
The family says their doctors are confident of finding a perfect match within 10 donor applicants, but blood and tissue testing can take weeks, and they're still waiting on results to come back in the new year.
Driving remains one of the leading causes of serious and fatal collisions on our roads and is entirely preventable.
Essex County OPP and Mothers Against Drunk Driving are once again saying make the right choice when it comes to getting behind the wheel. In the past 2 weeks since the Festive Ride campaign kicked off, Essex County OPP have conducted 218 ride checks, laying 29 alcohol-related criminal code charges, the most in the entire OPP West region.
If you choose to drive impaired, you'll be caught and you will face serious consequences.
Police say those numbers reflect a broader trend. In 2025, Essex County OPP have responded to 74 alcohol-related collisions, crashes officers say never had to happen.
Now, especially as the Christmas approaches and the holiday season approaches, more festivities, more celebrations are going to be underway. This is kind of a last push, to remind the public once again to never make that decision to drive impaired.
The local MAD chapter says the statistics don't tell the whole story.
Too many people pay the price for someone else's selfish and dangerous decision.
Every day, it's I see the consequences of alcohol in my life and in my community, and there is no excuse for drinking and driving anymore.
Local leaders say rural areas face unique challenges where some drivers mistakenly believe back roads are safer.
You can't drive down a back road drunk. It's no different than driving down any other road.
Personal injury lawyer Greg Monforton says the consequences of impaired driving extend far beyond the roadside stop.
It can adversely affect almost every corner of a person's life.
He says impaired driving convictions can impact employment, travel, and a person's future. He supports the tougher penalties the Ontario government is proposing, which includes lifetime license suspensions for anyone convicted of impaired driving causing death.
People got to give their head a shake and really think about this and understand that every time they get behind the wheel of a car, they've made a promise to drive. They've in effect made a covenant with everybody to drive carefully and safely.
Impaired driving is all of our responsibilities. If you see or suspect a person driving impaired, call 911 immediately.
Police say enforcement will stay strict through the holidays, delivering a clear warning: drive impaired and you'll be caught. Authorities and MAD are urging anyone who suspects an impaired driver to call 911. And Stephanie, that's one call that could prevent a tragedy.
This northbound bus stop on Pembina Highway is in a good location for daily rider Ash Carr, but she says it's not ideal for everyone.
For those who are attending the hospital, those who wants to go to hospital, yeah, for them it's difficult.
The stop was moved from the hospital grounds to Pembina as part of the changes to the transit network. City Councillor Sherry Rowland says the hospital has been lobbying Winnipeg Transit for months to move the stop back.
This is just a little thing that can be done to give them the sense of safety back.
The new location is on the edge of the hospital's property, but Rowland says this has created accessibility issues and safety concerns for patients, volunteers, nurses, and other staff, as hospital security was able to keep an eye on the previous location so close to the front doors.
Volunteers and nurses had a proximity to their security on campus, and patients wouldn't have to limp bleeding towards the hospital.
And CTV News has learned about an alleged incident that added to the security concerns. Someone was threatening hospital staff over the phone that they were going to bring vigilantes to the Victoria to liberate a patient. A spokesperson for Winnipeg Transit says they have met with the hospital's administration about their concerns. It says the southbound stop has always been on Pembina, and the northbound one was paired with it for safety and convenience. And a pedestrian half signal was installed. That said, all stops are undergoing review based on feedback and operational data. Some stops will be added, reinstated, removed, or relocated based on this review. Our infrastructure team is evaluating this stop, and we have committed to continuing discussions with Victoria General Hospital in January.
If you need to go to a hospital on a bus, you may be that much more vulnerable.
On that alleged threat against staff, Winnipeg police say there was a call for service and that the matter had been resolved. There were no charges and no threat to public safety.
Jeff, what is the Winnipeg Regional Health Authority saying about the bus stop issue?
A spokesperson for the Winnipeg Regional Health Authority says Victoria Hospital has heard about the concerns raised by staff, patients, and volunteers about the relocation. They say the change has created significant challenges for patients with limited mobility, especially during the winter months. And they are mindful of the safety and accessibility concerns this presents for staff and volunteers, many of whom rely on public transit while commuting to and from shift work. They say Winnipeg Transit has reached out to hospital leadership to discuss the impacts from the change, and they are sharing their experiences to inform the next steps.
The town of Outlook is currently in a state of local emergency as residents have been without water for more than 24 hours.
It's been crazy. You don't know how much you appreciate having running water until you don't have it.
It's because of a potential break-in at the town's treated water reservoir. According to RCMP, an unknown individual or individuals broke a lock at the facility in the early hours of Monday morning. RCMP say they continue to investigate and, quote, "It has not been determined whether the suspect or suspects entered the outbuilding or that anything was stolen or tampered with, but town officials aren't taking any chances."
So all those things, they add up together and can be quite frustrating. That said, we're very appreciative of the people in town who are looking out for their neighbors. They realize that we can't fix this overnight.
Maintenance crews are currently in the process of removing the compromised water and sanitizing the reservoir. In the meantime, the residents of Outlook are remaining positive among the uncertainty.
Pretty good so far, yeah, upbeat, but like we know it's only a few days, so we'll get through it, yeah.
It's kind of ridiculous that we've come to this, but people are working together, pitching in, and helping each other out when they need to. So that's been nice to see.
The town is providing residents with water jugs as it works to resolve the issue, and community members are instructed not to use the water for any purposes or attempt to treat the water themselves.
Everybody's positive, everybody thinks, the water's going to come pretty soon. Everybody has been helpful, there's been resources to the town, so we're just grateful.
There is no exact time as to when the community's water will be back to normal. However, officials have expressed that it will take a few more days at the earliest. Investigators say anyone who witnessed suspicious activity in the area is asked to contact police or Crime Stoppers. Hallie Mandrick, CTV News, Outlook.
Over the past year, Edmonton police have been working without an important partner on the roads.
If people are aware that there's a chance that they're going to get a ticket, I would like to think that most people are going to change their behavior, change their driving pattern when they're driving in an area that is susceptible to automated enforcement.
These cameras still capture and send tickets to vehicles that run red lights, but provincial regulations that took effect in January meant having to deactivate catching speed violations.
Feels like because of the lack of consequences, people are choosing to drive more dangerously.
Data from the city shows an 87% increase in the number of people going 20 to 30 kilometers over the posted limit. Police are seeing a similar trend.
We're still seeing an uptick in more aggressive driving, and what we're seeing is an increase in 50-plus violations, 30-plus violations.
We are at the highest number of fatalities this year since Vision Zero was adopted in 2015.
The province is currently reviewing requests to reactivate the speed on green at 2 problem intersections in Edmonton.
These are real lives being lost. It doesn't need to be this way, especially when the tools exist.
When we look at the criteria, many of our intersections will still meet those requirements, but we do have to put together the business cases to bring it back.
With more than 80 intersection safety devices, the city says there will be more requests submitted, a move police believe will make a big difference.
The automated enforcement can also be there all the time, and it can be there in a place and can sometimes control driving behaviors when we don't have that capacity to do manned enforcement.
Police say the solution doesn't just lie with cameras and enforcement, but drivers too.
We all play a role in that, and we just need to do better.
Amanda Anderson, CTV News, Edmonton.